Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2K Sports Season Preview Show. I'm Greg Gumbel along with my partner Clark Kellogg, and we're ready to give you your first taste of all the big names and top teams that'll define this season. We're looking ahead to what should be an amazing year in college basketball, so let's take a look at the preseason top 25 poll and see who starts the season at the top of the heap. Here are the big five, the top teams in the country as we begin the season. The Boston College Eagles come in as the #1 ranked team, followed by Michigan State, Louisville, Arizona, and Alabama. What do you think of the top five teams going into the year, Clark?
Those are some terrific teams, Greg. And the thing I find most fascinating about the top five is the number of contrasting styles we see here. These teams couldn't be more different. And I love when we have that kind of diversity at the top of the poll.
The Boston College Eagles are projected as the favorites here in the early going. Certainly, they'll get a big boost from the return of their leading scorer from a year ago.
That's a big advantage for them. They don't have to spend the first few weeks of the season searching for that go-to guy. They know who he is, and they'll use him.
Michigan State is in the #2 spot. They were unstoppable last season, finishing with 28 wins.
Winning that many games again is going to be extremely difficult, no matter how much talent they have. Not many teams play that many games, never mind win that many. They'll be on the verge of dynasty status if they repeat that performance.
Louisville comes in as #3. Their dreams of tournament glory last year were quickly dashed in a first-round loss.
This year they have the potential to do much better than last. Last season they spent a lot of their energy getting to March Madness and were worn out once they got there. I'll bet they handled the journey to the tournament much better this time.
Arizona starts the year as the 4th-ranked team. They've got a whole crew of high school Mr. Basketballs on this team.
A team is usually happy to land one Mr. Basketball, but with the number they have, this could be a golden era of basketball success at this university. There's nothing but good times ahead.
Alabama is the #5 team. They are a very strong team, but they have plenty of competition from within. Here's the next group of teams in our preseason top 25. The Butler Bulldogs, the #25 team, probably deserve a closer look. They wrapped up their season last year with a trip to the Sweet 16, but it ended there.
A similar result this year probably won't satisfy them. They've got the potential to go a step beyond the Sweet 16, so just getting back there is going to be a disappointment, not an achievement.
As usual, we have a lot of new coach. We've come to the part of the show when we look. Let's move on to it. And finally, now let's move on to the second. Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, joined at the anchor desk by my partner, Clark Kellogg. Next up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll preview some of the biggest games coming up this week in the NCAA, as well as show you the best action from around the nation. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Balkman is a favorite to win this award every week, Greg, and he gets it this week. If there is anyone who doesn't consider him one of the best players in the country, just take a look at his last few performances.
You said it, partner. He was a scoring machine with a total of 71 points. What a magnificent week he had on the offensive end of the court. There are a lot of terrific scorers in college hoops today, and he showed us this week he belongs right there with all of them. His ability to find the holes in a defense is unparalleled. Now let's take a look ahead to the games that get top billing on the schedule in the days to come. This should be a terrific matchup. Both these teams are fighting to improve their position among the nation's elite teams, and they're going to have to go through each other to do it.
Connecticut plays a brand of defense that should make the difference in this game. They are a tough team to score against. And if you don't squeeze the orange, they'll take it. I think they'll be in top form for this contest.
And we have another upcoming contest that promises to be a classic. I'm looking forward to this game just like everybody else. This matchup has the possibility of becoming quite a little rivalry because these teams match up so well against each other, and it's always a heated atmosphere when they're on the court together.
Butler should come out on top if I had to make a prediction. Their backcourt is so solid this year, and their guards love to get out and run. That gives them a huge advantage in a game that should be as fast-paced as this one will be.
Now, let's turn our attention to some of the action of the past week in the NCAA with our games of the week. We had the kind of upset this week that makes college hoops so unpredictable and so exciting. Georgia State was victorious over Boston College.
Yeah, Greg, nobody saw this coming. Boston College is going to lose their spot at the top of the poll for sure after this loss. Wentz had the hot hand on the winning side. His double-double really gave his team the lift they needed. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a game situation like this was stupendous.
And next up, let's look back on another great contest from the past week. Indiana State did away with Michigan State.
The Indiana State Sycamores weren't fazed at all by the hostile crowd. In fact, they seemed to feed off being in the enemy's building and used it to their advantage. I love to see that in the team. That's a sign of a tough-minded squad. Indiana State played some absolutely stifling defense. They made the guys on the other side work for every basket, and you can see that reflected in the shooting percentage. They never let up on the defensive end. These teams might not have been evenly matched on paper, but that kind of defense gives you a chance to win every time.
That's our show, everyone. For all of us here at the 2K Sports Studios, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week on College Hoops Tonight. Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner, Clark Kellogg. Just ahead on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll reveal the best of the little guys in our mid-major top 10 list, as well as tell you where the top recruit in the nation is headed. But first, let's take a look at the best games of the past week in college basketball. We had the kind of upset this week that makes college hoops so unpredictable and so exciting. Penn State was victorious over Boston College.
Yeah, Greg, nobody saw this coming. Boston College was sitting pretty as a top 5 team, but you've got to have some doubts about them after a loss like this. Medina was a man possessed. His 25 points led all scorers. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a situation like this was stupendous.
And next up, let's look back on another great contest from the past week. Auburn got by Texas A&M.
The Auburn Tigers were intensely focused coming into this game, and their preparation was outstanding. They looked like they were ready for anything, Greg, kind of like you are when we come into the studio. Auburn played some absolutely stifling defense. They made the guys on the other side work for every basket, and you can see that reflected in the shooting percentage. They never let up on the defensive end. That really took the pressure off the offense and allowed them to dictate the tempo of the game. To me, that was the biggest factor.
Now it's time to reveal our list of the top 10 mid-major teams in college basketball. You're looking at the future Cinderellas of the NCAA tournament.
I just love talking about the non-power conference team. This is the kind of stuff that gets me fired up for March. A couple of these teams have the potential to be very dangerous in the tournament. No one more so than the team at the top of the list.
Creighton has a schedule that rivals that of any of the top power teams. The strength of their opponents has been just outstanding, and that's going to be a huge factor in their ability to survive in March. In playing one of the most difficult schedules in the nation, they've gotten a lot tougher along the way. There's just as much action in the living room as there is in the locker room at this time of year as college Welcome to the 2K Sports Studios. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg. Coming up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll recap the biggest games of the week, as well as tell you where the top recruit in the nation is headed. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Hobbs is a favorite to win this award every week, Greg, and he gets it this week. If there is anyone who doesn't consider him one of the best players in the country, just take a look at his last few performances.
It was a magical week for him, Clark, no doubt about it. The fans really got behind him as the points kept piling up, and you could see him feed off their energy. He's a cult hero to those people now, and if he has a few more weeks like this one, he'll be one of the all-time legends at that university. There was no shortage of excitement on the court in the past few days, so let's take a look at our games of the week. We have a real surprise to show you. Not too many folks expected the result that came from this one. Auburn defeated Louisville.
This came right out of the blue, Greg. What a wild and crazy game. Louisville is going to lose their spot at the top of the poll for sure after this loss. Auburn did a tremendous job in the rebounding department. It was truly a dominant performance on the glass. They showed great hustle and determination every time a shot went up on either. That's always an area that can really be an indicator of a team's performance, and the rebounding numbers told the tale in this one.
Although this next contest seemed predictable enough, one of the best teams in the country suffered a severe shock to the system. Utah toppled NC State.
No one could have predicted this outcome, Greg. North Carolina State was sitting pretty as a top 5 team, but you've got to have some doubts about them after a loss like this. Draper was absolutely unstoppable. His 25 points led all scorers. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
There's just as much action in the living room as there is in the locker room at this time of year.